When I was a child, I used to run around the farm near the house of my aunt in Cotabato. Well, to be exact, it was a farm owned by my aunt. I remember my mom would always scold me because of the things that I do, like climb trees, take fruits, pet every animal that I see, play with mud, and many more. But 2 years ago, the land was sold, and when I asked for the reason, they said that the land was becoming infertile and the area was too hot to continue living there. 13 years ago, it was a land rich with life, yet after 13 years, it had to be abandoned and sold. In the Philippines, Cotabato is an area where rain can barely reach because of the area it is located in. I remember it being hot, but not hot enough that it was bad. I remember the days where, even during the noontime, the sunlight was not hot enough to make people take shelter. I would always play with my cousins and the other children in the neighborhood, but today, even being inside a well ventilated area, the heat can still penetrate. Today, even during 8 a.m., the heat is hot enough to cause one to profusely sweat, and at 10 a.m., long exposure to the sunlight is enough to make you dizzy. And all of these are the apparent results of climate change. By now, everyone should intuitively know what global warming and climate change are, but still, I think that everyone should know what they mean. Global warming refers to the rise in global temperatures due mainly to the increasing concentrations of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere, while climate change refers to the increasing changes in the measure of climate over a long period of time. According to the National Climate Assessment, human influences are the number one cause of global warming, especially the carbon pollution we cause by burning fuels, fossil fuels to be exact, and worse, the trees that were supposed to absorb the carbon are being cut down and destroyed by us. Carbon dioxide, methane, soot, and other pollutants released to the atmosphere act as a blanket, which captures the sunlight, the heat, and traps it within the planet, causing it to warm. Evidence shows that the year 2000 to 2009 was hotter than any other decade, at least in the past 1,300 years. This warming is altering the Earth's climate system, including its land, atmosphere, ocean, and ice, far reaching ways. And some of the consequences of our actions are more frequent and severe weather, higher death rates, hereditary air and water, higher wildlife extinction rates, melting ice sheets, which results in a higher sea level, and more. And did you know that the Philippines is the second most vulnerable area affected by climate change, and more than 60% of the Filipino population are affected by it? Dangers include food and freshwater scarcity, damages to infrastructure, and devastating sea level rise, which is noticeable especially during floods. Because of this, Filipinos truly understand and constantly experiences the impact due to climate change, which is why the Philippines is one of the countries that have been taking lead in taking action to lessen the effects of climate change. According to the Grantham Research Institute on Climate Change, there are more than 1,200 laws and policies regarding climate change and global warming around the world, and in the Philippines alone, there are over 20 laws regarding climate change. Efforts regarding climate change are happening not only in the Philippines but also in several countries, and major movements around the globe are happening in order to push their government to act. As we know, climate change can no longer be stopped. However, it can be delayed and have its effects lessened. Simple things such as using renewable energy, using energy efficient appliances, reducing water consumption and waste, segregating, and most importantly, avoiding from consuming and investing on products that use fossil fuels. Delaying climate change requires a collective effort from people all around the globe, which is why we must always do our part before it becomes too late. Thank you.